everyone can communicate with rational superior, the author of the book. Due to us being from rational origin, we were qualified as rational animals. And once being developed, this being that everyone did not know through rational immunization, the person starts, then, to get in contact with rational superior, due to us being from rational origin. And so, having the contact, there is the clarification and orientations from rational superior to all people. There it is, the world arriving at its true place, of one for all and all for one. Who is this one? It is rational superior, and we are the all for one. You will receive all precise and necessary orientation to your equilibrium. There it is, the happiness in general. Everyone being happy due to finding your true origin, which is where you came from and where you are going to. Where are you going to? To your place of origin, for developing this being that everyone has but was unaware of, which is the rational being, and that is why you were qualified as rational animals. Once this being developed by the knowledge of rational immunization, you will get in contact with rational superior, who is up there, in rational plane, where everyone came from. And then, everyone close to the true Savior, understanding and talking with the true Savior, due to all being of rational origin and having the faculty of understanding one another due to being rational animals, that became as you are due to free will. And so, everyone eternally saved. The rational gift all have, but you did not know why you were considered rational animals. Now you are knowing the reason why, because everyone is from rational origin, once that being that everyone has by nature through the knowledge of rational immunization, once developed, get in contact with rational superior and starts to receive all needed and precise orientations for the equilibrium of the human being. And so, everyone, due to being from rational origin, has to arrive to one's place, due to the origin being this one, due to the being this one, due to the true way being this one, of the true eternal Father, as you used to say. Everyone brilliantly saved by rational immunization, with the plant of your being, of your nature at hand, divulging your being of rational animal and of all beings that comprise the world. And because you did not know your true natural being, as you are knowing now, it is that you were enchanted there in that enchantment, without knowing anything, keeping the mysteries, the enigmas, due to being enchanted ones. And now, disenchanted. You disenchanted yourselves, you saved yourselves by the rational knowledge brought to all for everyone's immunization. To become immunized is to unite yourself to the pure ones from rational plane, be in contact with the pure ones, understand with pure ones, converse with the pure ones, having all explanation given by the true world of everyone, which is rational plane. And so, eternally saved. Then, who does not want to become immunized? Everyone does. Who does not want to be saved? Everyone does. Who does not want to talk with rational superior? Everyone does. Who does not accept your salvation? Everyone does, which is the disenchantment. Then, it is there in the world, the eternal salvation of all. The world in celebration for the rest of life, the world in joy for the rest of life, because everyone will live understanding each other rationally, and not misunderstood like ferocious beasts. At the first announcements, the impact will be great due to no one expecting such a surprise, but the impact is of minutes, because you will soon get to verify it and will become surprised by this truth of truths. Rich steps, rich days, rich hours. Brilliant steps, brilliant days, brilliant hours. Everyone understanding with rational superior through what everyone has and did not know. And no one knew why you are like you are. No one knew how you were made, and today everyone knowing and happy, glad, due to being saved. Then, the salvation of all depends on knowing what rational immunization is. Once knowing, you are eternally saved. There it is, for all to know, for all to save yourselves, because you had enough suffering. The greatest brilliant in the world, the greatest richness in the world is rational immunization. While you do not know what rational immunization is, you will not be immunized, and for you to be in contact with rational superior, it is necessary you know to describe what rational immunization is. The return of everyone to the place of origin. There is no effect without cause. The cause of the body is the electric and magnetic fluid, which is deformed into these 7 parts, which are the 7 seeds or 7 particles are the 7 parts that form one body only. once the person is immunized, the immunization takes that electric and magnetic fluidic body, which gave origin to this body in electric and magnetic fluidic matter, and take it to the place of origin, which is rational plane. There it is, why we are rational animals, and not being immunized, that electric and magnetic fluidic body continue deformed in that deformation. There it is, what gave origin to the body in electric and magnetic fluidic matter, it is from fluidic origin. If there is no fluid, there is no life. Where does the fluid come from? From the sun. If there is no sun, there is no life. That is why the world is an electric and magnetic fluidic conjunct. That is the reason why everything that exists in the world is from fluidic origin. The fluid is the most powerful force in the world. From the fluids originate this apparent everything. Definition of fluid. In the heat, which is a fluid, there is infinity of fluids, different from one another. So, within the heat are all fluids and all different. The difference that exists among human beings, different from one another, is in the fluid, because everyone has his different fluid. The origin of colors is due to the fluids being different. A mother that has many kids, even though from the same matrix, they are all different. They should, logically, be all equal, but they are not, because each one has his fluid, so being it, they are all different. After the person is immunized, rational immunization catches the fluid that originated the person and takes it to rational plane. That fluid, which gave origin to the person, remaining deformed, he will be born again there on earth, and being immunized, returns to his place of origin, which is rational plane. The sun is from rational origin, formed by the virtues of the bodies before those there, which left rational plane and kept losing their virtues, and these, accumulating, originated the sun. And so, the sun originated that deformation that is there, which also is from rational origin, but deformed. The fluid is from that electromagnetic conjunct, which is the deformed world, and the virtues, which mean lives, are from rational origin. Life from there is constituted by those deformed virtues. If there was no sun, which is from the origin of the deformed virtues of the rational beings, there would be no fluid, and not existing fluid, there is no life. The fluids are what give form and life to all beings that exist there on earth. Therefore, if the sun did not exist, there would not be life. It is thus explained the end of all beings through rational immunization. In the fluid is everything of good and everything of evil. The good fluid produces goodness and the evil fluid produces evilness. The person immunized by the good fluid, the evil fluid does not penetrate into the body and the person stays free from any kind of illness, like cancer and other diseases. The fluid penetrates through the pores, through respiration, through the alimentation, and from there good and evil emerges. The person possessing the good fluid, full of the good fluids, the bad fluid has no access, because good dominates evil. Evil cannot dominate well. The good prevails, and not the evil. Evil is generated by the magnetic force and good by the electric force, when equilibrated, because unbalanced, it causes evil. Then, everything that one feels and does not see is fluid. You feel the effects, but do not see it: pollution, poisoning of the atmosphere by carbon, by the gases. For the person to have the electric and magnetic forces in equilibrium, he needs to become immunized. To acquire the immunization, only knowing the book Universe and Disenchantment. The immunization is from the rational part and the electric and magnetic is from that conjunct of the deformation of that electric and magnetic world. Force originated from the sun, which gave origin to that electric and magnetic conjunct. Radioactivity is a fluid, you feel it but do not see it. The atom is a fluid, you see it but do not feel it. Electricity is a fluid, you feel it but do not see it. The microgerms, which the lenses reach, and which the lenses do not see, and everything after all, that comprises this fluidic nature in electric and magnetic matter, everything that exists has its fluids, all vegetables have their perfume, their smell, their odors, their gases, good and bad. It is a conjunct of fluids of different gases, each one expels its own. In a way that a magnetic combustion, fluidic, exerts its influence over the human being, from which comes the unbalance of the thought, the disequilibrium. The thought does not stop due to that combustion of fluids expelled by the beings. For the human being has the equilibrium, normal adjustment, only what can equilibrate the human being is rational immunization, which is an influence from a different pole, which comes from rational plane, then it adjusts and balances the living being. Without rational immunization, remains the disequilibrium in everyone, that is why the world has always kept this disequilibrium. The disequilibrium in the world and in everyone comes from that deformed combustion, which you are now knowing now, the reason of all that. For everyone's equilibrium, for everyone's adjustment, only being immunized by knowing what rational immunization is. The immunization is from rational plane. Then, there is the rational fluid in the fluid from that electric and magnetic deformation there. The rational fluid balances the electric and magnetic part due the human being being deformed there, subject to that unbalance produced by those two currents, which is the cause of the disequilibrium of everyone and of everything. So, nature gets in conflict with everything by the disequilibrium, and rational immunization balances everyone and everything. Rational immunization is the most needed thing in the human being's life and for everything, after all, because once rationally immunized, the person gets in contact with the inhabitants of rational plane, receiving from there all the precise orientations for the equilibrium on life. You receive all necessary explanations for the equilibrium of the human being, for everyone's good, for everyone's happiness, for everyone's peace, for everyone's harmony, for everyone's tranquility, after all, a perfect and complete equilibrium, due to it being from the rational being. The nervous diseases will be cured by the good fluid, by rational immunization. Then, to get all of this you only need to read to know and feel what rational immunization is. Only for everyone's good from all points of view. Immunized means, unite oneself to the pure ones from rational plane, talk with the pure ones, understand the pure ones, after all the precise clarifications given by the pure ones, and to return to be together with the pure ones, because you were a pure one too, and for this, you know where you came from, how you came, where you are going to, and how you are going, which is the return of the fluid that gave origin to your being to the natural state, which is rational plane. You deformed yourselves into rational animals, and for being rationals, you will return to your place of origin, to rational plane, because there is no effect without cause. The cause that gave origin to that effect, which is the body, is the fluid that is deformed there, which gave origin to the microbes for the formation of the body. Once immunized, the immunization catches fluid, or each one's fluid, the fluid that gave origin to each being, and takes it to its place of origin. There is no effect without cause. All effect has its cause, all deed has its cause. If everything exists, it is because there is a cause for the existence of this or of that. All effect is produced by a cause. If there was no cause, there would be no beings, there would be no life. If life exists, it is because exists the cause that gave origin to life. It is needed to be so repetitious because among the ones who understand well, also are those who do not understand well. Those repetitions are for the confused ones, for the ones who do not understand well, who take long to understand what is so clear, in front of the eyes, and have their entrails ties up closed, and it is necessary to beat so much like that to awake, to be able to interpret. Then, all cures for the body in electric and magnetic fluidic matter are in the good fluid, and all maladies are in the bad fluid, and all equilibrium is in rational immunization. Then, care to be immunized to your own good. An explanation. About this deformed world. The sun is the watch and the moon the hands, due to that, shows the quarters. The stars, the hand of the seconds, over the formation of nature. The fluids more charged with the magnetic force produce more viruses of this part, and from that the generation and formation of the feminine sex. If the fluid is more charged with the electric force, more viruses of this part, the masculine sex prevails. Those charges are produced or made by the fluids of the moon. The moon being the hands of this watch sets up the charges and discharges, that is why it charges and discharges. When waning, it discharges, and when waxing, it charges. The new moon is neutral, and so, the moon has great influence in the generation and formation of the beings. The magnetic fluid strongly charged, it produces a great quantity of viruses from its part due to its influence be big, and from there is the generation and formation of the feminine sex. The electric part, which is the fluid, when it is more charged, it produces and generates the masculine sex, because the charges are variant due to the moon's quarters, which are different. Then, when it is full, totally charged, it produces great magnetic force, and when waning, it discharges the magnetic force. When it waxes, it charges with magnetic force, which is why nature is so varying, due to the quarters of the moon. Within those quarters are the minutes, seconds, and the hours, and due to the existence of all of those modifications of quarters of minutes and seconds, that is why it makes these varieties, these irregularities in nature, of inequality and of differences from one thing to another. Then you used to say, there is not one thing equal to other. It has always to have a difference, big or small, due to the quarters, minutes, seconds, and hours, which change the magnetic and electric action. In 1 second it is under a magnetic influence, and in the other, it is already under some other magnetic action, and so, successively. In a minute it is already a magnetic action, in a second it is already another magnetic action, in 3 minutes it is already another magnetic and electric action, and so are the hours. The magnetic and electric actions are in constant modifications, that is why thoughts are varying. Sometime you think one thing, other time you think another. The thoughts do not stop due to those modifications of the electric and magnetic forces. When the sun warms too much, it is because it is charged with magnetic force. A simple comparison, a small fire produces little heat. When putting there a lot of stuff, a lot of matter, it becomes a large fire. The heat is larger due to the material beings. A stuck match produces little heat, and 10 lit boxes produce more heat due to the larger material charge. And so is the sun, the less magnetic charge, the less heat, the more charge, the more heat. The same thing with electricity, the larger the charge, the larger the magnetic charge. The shock is larger, the force is larger, the fire is larger. The larger the magnetic charge, the larger the electric force is, the more fire. So is the sun, the more charged with magnetic fluid, the more heat. And so, in the generations, the more charged, the more it dominates, the more it prevails. Then, there it is, the reason for females and the reason for males. The male, more electric charge, it prevails the male. If the magnetic force is more charged, it prevails the magnetic force. Then, all of this is very variant because it is a watch starting in 1, increasing to 2, increases to the 3rd, and keeps increasing until it reaches 24 hours. Then, the new moon is neutral, then the first quarter starts, the magnetic force starts to increase until the full moon comes. After the full moon, the last quarter comes, it starts to discharge. It is in such a way that the magnetic force is always on the scene, and the electric, with its varieties, its variations. From there come the variations of the beings, which are formed by the fluids. The variations of the differences in color, in race, in size, in ways, in forms, in understanding, in thoughts, in language, in shape, in tastes, in smells, in odors, after all, that large variety that exists over everything, which gives origin to all of those causes, that there is no effect or deeds which do not have cause. If there is not the cause, there is not the deed, and due to the magnetic and electric variations which the fluids go through. From second to second it changes its actions, its effect, its works for the formation of the beings. That is why you used to say, there is nothing perfect in this world, due to the electric and magnetic fluid changes, which within 1 or half a second already makes a difference, and from second to second there are different forces operating. There cannot be perfection. Then you dare to say, there is nothing perfect in this world. Now you are knowing why. The electric and magnetic fluid action, which comes into action for the generation, formation, and creation of beings, because there is no effect without cause. If all of those deeds there exist, the cause is the fluids, not existing the fluid, there are no beings and there is no generation and formation. Then, the sun is the watch and the moon is the hand and the stars are the little hand of the seconds, that is why they are always in action with that twinkle that seems they are trembling. Then, there it is, a little piece of the before being. The before being of this apparent everything, where did it come from? From the fluid. The fluid is the heterogeneous and all beings are fluidics. It is the general fact, of genius, of the genesis of formation, generation, and creation of the beings. Then, it is this fluid that gave origin to your life that the immunization catches and takes it to the place of origin, which is rational plane. Then, when this apparent everything, which is your body, your being, extinguishes, it does not come another equal, because the fluid that originated this body is no longer here to the formation of another body like it, it is up there, on rational plane. So, there it is, the disenchantment of the beings, the disenchantment of everything, and the disenchantment of the world. You disenchanted of this life because you did not know why you lived like that there, without knowing anything about your formation and creation. Disenchantment means freedom. You became free from matter. You were tied up to the matter, to evil, suffering, imprisoned to all suffering there, and now you got the freedom through rational immunization. Then, enchanted means prison on this ground of bitterness. Disenchantment means, you freed yourself from that prison of matter, from that condemnation of condemned to suffer and condemned to die, many times tragically, horribly, freed from this bitter oppression. Disenchantment means, you freed yourself. Enchantment is the same as condemned to everything evil. Therefore, it is in the world the disenchantment of people. Then, this is the biggest treasure, the biggest richness, the biggest brilliant. The greatest happiness is the disenchantment. The freedom of the enchanted ones is priceless. Then, there it is, the disenchantment of the people, the disenchantment of everyone, the disenchantment of the world from the animal oppression. Now you are aware and know why you were here locked in matter, in this enchantment, suffering bitterly and humiliated because you are the way you are and condemned to death. Humiliated because you are there without any warranties, exposed there to all sufferings, exposed to all deceptions. Many people revolted due to feeling humiliated with this nature, with this life, agonizing, in agony, exposed to all disequilibrium. Many people feel humiliated and ashamed for being like they are, not being happy with this life, due to it being a false life, of appearances, of fantasies, of illusions, of hypocrisy. Many living because they have life but with no pleasure in life, due to being ashamed of being the way they are, of passing what passes on in this world of illusion, of matter. Many people are ashamed to be what they are, but not having another option, they must accept all that imperfection, due to them living in a world of imperfect ones. Then, many people were ashamed to be like that. They felt belittled, ridiculed, due to being imperfect, wanting to be correct, right, and seeing the imperfection of their being and of all beings, seeking perfection for not knowing their being and never finding it. Then, the deception of many people. So ashamed for being what they are, disappointed and disillusioned, that they have already ended life, put an end to life, due to being ashamed from living like this, due to being ashamed for not being perfect, for not being right as they wished to be. Countless suicides by the disappointed ones with life, seeing that there are no one perfect, seeing the imperfection of everyone in the world, seeing the catastrophic injustices of nature, the volcanoes, the earthquakes, and all that exists, seeing so much imperfection in nature and in the beings, being ashamed to live in a world like this, of shame, that they put an end to life, not tolerating their own being of matter, imperfect one, full of defects. Humiliated due to living in this condition of animals, of rational animals. Humiliated and ashamed for being so, they kill themselves, preferring to die instead of living the way they are. The majority prefers the illusion and keeps on living, but it is necessary to notice that not everyone thinks the same way. Those who seek perfection, purity, justice of nature do not find it and dislike it, get disappointed, and put an end to life, because everyone thinks differently and judge like this: what is it worth to live in the world if I do not have peace, if I do not have warranties, if I am exposed to all suffering, if life is of suffering? I do not have to whom to appeal for. Suffering is the greatest brilliant in the world. I am, in this varying state of disequilibrium, everything apparently and I am nothing truly. It does not help to live falsely, deceiving myself with an apparent everything without being so. I would like to have a positive life and not a negative one. Due to this, today I am one thing and tomorrow another one. It is not worth for me to live hypocritically like this, pretending that I am what I am not, appearing to be what I am not. Then, thinking like that and on, one feels so ridiculed, so belittled, so ashamed, that one ends up putting an end to life, due to not wanting to subject himself to live like this as nature provided to him. Then, each one with one's way to interpret life, and for this, everyone is different, each one creating a conviction about life, each one interprets life in some way, in some form, each one with one's way to interpret. Then, there is on earth the disenchantment of the rational animals, the disenchantment from the domination of matter, the disenchantment that has never existed, the disenchantment of the beings of the universe, which has never existed, and today coming to everyone's knowledge, the disenchantment of the beings of the universe, the disenchantment that everyone was hoping for, that everyone has been waiting since long. At last the disenchantment has arrived. The rational freedom represents the universal purity, love and fraternity. The disenchantment is everything, the enchantment, matter, is nothing, because matter is an apparent everything and the disenchantment from evil is everything. Today, rational immunization arriving, everyone has the pleasure of living peacefully and happily, due to finding the right route, the right path, which is rational immunization, for everyone to get in contact with rational superior, for everyone to get united with rational superior, close to rational superior, talking and speaking with rational superior, with all precise orientations for the route of happiness and equilibrium, having your conferences with rational superior. Due to you being of rational origin, you had to come to this conclusion, which is the definition of everyone's nature. The nature defined, due to our origin being this one, rational, and for this, we were classified as rational animals. Now defined and divulged our being. We arrived at our true place, and because we arrived at our true place, that is why we have the contact to unite with our origin, together with rational superior. Then, greatest joy and happiness than this one has never existed before, and so greater contentment, greater happiness and greater satisfaction among all that could not exist equal, the contentment and satisfaction of uniting ourselves to rational superior. Then, viva to Brazil, blessed land and chosen by rational superior. All in darkness and cooked. The light of the old world is the darkness, that is why you only see by means of fire. Who lives in darkness, lives within fire, and due to that, when fire goes to illuminate other worlds, on the other side is night, everything in darkness. Those who live in darkness do not know what they say, what they do, what they want, where they came from, or where they are going to. They do not know why they live, why they were born, the reason for their existence and the reason for the existence of everything else. Therefore, all they know is to talk nonsense and think others more. The knowledge you have is null, of an obscure that does not know anything. Darkness is so much that you can only see by means of fire. Fire during the day and at night, and those who live within fire cannot be in peace due to the fire, until they possess the true knowledge, which is in rational immunization. Cannot you see that during the day the heat is unbearable due to fire? Don't you know that you are being cooked, and that is why you get softer until you cannot walk anymore? You used to say, old one. You are not old, but cooked by the heat of fire, day and night. Why? Due to you being in darkness, buried in darkness in such a way that no one understands one another in the universe, you are not happy with anything, whether you are rich or poor, because you are being cooked by fire. And where there is fire, there cannot be satisfaction, much less happiness. If it were so, the rich ones would be very happy, because they have more than they need. They do not do what they don't want to, but in the end, they are the ones who suffer the most. Therefore, you need to notice carefully that everyone lives in darkness. Therefore, darkness is the brilliant of the human being, day and night deep. You agonize for being cooked by the fire. Through rational immunization you all will arrive to the knowledge of yourselves, and everything will change with time, which is one of the greatest masters to those who live stuffed with so much misery. There is no old age. Old age is one word like all others to adorn the human being, who is so out of his natural, word created and invented here on earth by the animal being, who does not know anything of natural, who knows nothing of his nature, and due to not knowing how they were made, they are cooked, and as they are being cooked, they weaken, the flesh softens, becomes soft due to being cooked. Therefore, life and the things are completely out of their true being. The white herons. The white herons of the sea will not take long to arrive, announcing richness, fortune, and welfare to all who sail with the real helm, which is the rational helm, each time shining more, multiplying the shine with the warbles of this tide, which always fill up to keep everyone standing up. Cries of happiness, cries of satisfaction, you will whisper to yourselves and say, at last the day of everyone's satisfaction has arrived. Therefore, I, rational superior, always cheering the warranties of the rational triumph, and proving, with the passing of the days, everything I say, everything I promise, all these messages to everyone's good and to the collectivity in general. Many wish but do not have it because they do not know rational superior. But they will have it, with the universal knowledge, which is the book that everyone was waiting for, Universe in Disenchantment. Therefore, be persistent for your own good. When rational immunization dominates everyone, when you will be cared by rational immunization, you will indeed live well, everyone understanding one another. Happiness will be general, universally. Over here, all times and all moments are rational. What is rational is pure, clean, and perfect in everything. Therefore, when things are like that, the tranquility must be reigning within the hearts of all good correligionaries. Rational superior always pouring the balsam of the truth of truths, of the welfare of the obedient ones, purity, richness, and angelic greatness. The shine of honor of the rational pedestal, of the authentic supreme base of everything and everyone, which is the rational base, from where everyone came and to where everyone will go. This reading increases lifetime. The rational recapitulation must be constant, daily, for the mood always be conserved in equilibrium, as much as possible, by the instructions and orientations given about the present and future. Everyone conform to the joyous elevated rational fountain of the supreme writing to all, to everyone's will, the welfare of yourselves. To meet that justification, you need to take into consideration the instructions that you receive from the knowledge of yourselves, through the plant of the eternal salvation, which is there in your hands. Then, don't you know that the reading and rereading the book that contains your salvation is to live longer and to prolong your life? Therefore, do read. The more you read, the better it will be for you. Now we are going to enter in the acute part of the rational knowledge. Everyone will be completely touched by it because you will feel the authentic knowledge that brings the desire to speak, gives joy and emotion, produced by what you see, by what you feel. It is the acute part, not delirious. There is not who does not get crazy of happiness. Those who do not know cannot feel what those who already know feel. When they get to know, they will feel the same thing. Yes, because no one is of iron. Some saying, the light of truth has arrived in the world. Everyone crying out of happiness because the announcements will be alarming, the announcements will touch everyone. There will not be one who will not want to know how it is, how it was born in the world. Then, their rational immunization comprises everyone and all minds will be equilibrated toward the real point. You look at each other and say, it is the salvation of all, it is the most important discovery that exists in the world. Due to us being bodies in electric and magnetic fluidic matter, we have the probability of being treated by the most powerful force in the world, which are the fluids. There are the good fluid which is the goodness and the bad fluid which is the illness. There it is, how you can increase lifetime and live much more than you should, due to the fluidic treatment, which is the most positive treatment, due to it being natural. Everything that is natural is done by rational immunization. Due to the world being an electric and magnetic fluidic conjunct and due to us being formed from this fluidic nature, it is that once the human being immunized, he will receive the fluidic treatment to prolong and increase lifetime. The good fluid avoids the effects of the bad fluid, because evil is of fluidic origin. Once evil is from fluidic origin, the good fluid does not allow the bad fluid to reach the person and, from there, the prolongation of life. Due to the world and the deeds being from fluidic origin, it is that in the fluids is the most powerful force in the universe. Due to everything being from fluidic origin, from there, then, arises the goodness of the immunized ones and also the longevity of life by means of the fluidic treatment, where there are all the bad remedies and the good remedies. All diseases are from fluidic origin, due to the world being fluidic, electric, and magnetic. Therefore, all diseases are from fluidic origin. Due to us being bodies in electric and magnetic fluidic matter, it is that in the good fluid are all cures for all illnesses of the body in electric and magnetic fluidic matter. The bad fluid produces illness and the good fluid cures the illness. Therefore, the fluidic treatment is the true natural treatment. In order to get the fluidic cures, it is necessary to become immunized. Once immunized, you will receive the fluidic treatment, which is the natural of the human being. Due to be body in electric and magnetic fluidic matter, it is that in the good fluid there are all cures of the body in electric and magnetic fluidic matter, and to get this treatment, it is necessary to be immunized. To become immunized, it is enough read every day to know what rational immunization is. Therefore, all diseases are produced by the bad fluid and all cures are done by the good fluid. Due to the creatures being all from fluidic origin, that is why all evil is from fluidic origin and all cures are from fluidic origin. And so being it, the person is immunized by the good fluid due to being in possession of his true natural, which is rational immunization. Then, in this knowledge of rational immunization is everything the person needs to his equilibrium. First place, everyone's salvation. Second place, the cure of all maladies. And in the third place, the messenger who accompanies each book to resolve all the problems of all immunized ones. Due to the world being an electric and magnetic fluidic conjunct, it is that all diseases of the electric and magnetic fluidic body are done by the bad fluid, and to them be eliminated and cured only by the good fluid. The body is fluidic, the diseases are fluidic, and the cures are done by the good fluid due to the world being of fluidic origin. There it is how lifetime is prolonged by the fluidic treatment, after the person being immunized. Once immunized, one gets in contact with rational superior, then comes to orientations for the equilibrium of everything in life, for health, for business, for the necessary cases, finally, for everything that the living being needs, and once immunized, one knows where one came from, how one came, and why one came, where one is going to, how one is going to, and why one is going to one's place of origin, which is up there on rational plane. But for that, you have to be master of the knowledge of rational immunization, which is where all the solutions are of all beings existing in this deformed world, being this the true rational knowledge, for everyone to quit being rational animals and return to one's place of origin, on rational plane, which is from where everyone came out. All of that description is there, bit by bit, in the work Universe and Disenchantment. What goes to the place of origin, which is rational plane? It is the electric and magnetic fluidic body, which originated this body in electric and magnetic fluidic matter, because there is no effect without cause, and the cause of the body in electric and magnetic fluidic matter is done by the electric and magnetic fluidic body. Therefore, that depends on the people becoming immunized to return to be pure, clean and perfect rationals, without defects, on the plane up above there, where are the others with their progress of purity. There it is, how your salvation is done, quitting to be rational animals, beasts from this ground here, to return to be pure, clean, perfect rationals, without defects. And each book Universe and Disenchantment has the assistance of the book's owner to solve all problems and cases of life of who is being immunized. For those solutions, all that is needed is the persistence of the living being in reading. 1. In first place, everyone in your place of origin. 2. In second place, the cures by the good fluid. 3. In third place, the assistance of the owner of the book to solve the problems of the living being's life. 4. In fourth place, the increasing of lifetime. 5. In fifth place, rational superior orienting everyone. 6. In sixth place, the description of this enchanted world formation, mysterious, that has always been kept like that by the enchanted ones. 7. In seventh place, everyone in your place of origin, it is what completes the 7 parts of the reason why everyone is like this and how we can quit being like this, to go back to being clean, pure, and perfect rationals. Science of nothing. Science of nothing, and that is why everything ends in nothing, starts in nothing and ends in nothing. It is enough to be matter. Matter is from evil origin, and being from evil origin, it is a product of a disease, and due to everyone being diseased, you are varying, imperfect, and full of defects, some diseased ones appearing to be good. And being diseased like that, how could you be balanced? So, everyone unbalanced and basing themselves in science of unbalanced ones, science of those who does not regulate, science of sick ones, science of crazy ones, committing the absurdities of the absurdities, craziness of all sizes, with that progress that goes backwards, for being a progress of destruction. Science only for destruction. Only thing of who is not regulating. This science of nothing, where everything ends in nothing, in this apparent everything, you judge to be what you are not because you are varying, and don't realize your diseased being. Science should only exist to build, and the progress of destruction is of those who are not regulating. Is it of those who know what they are doing? No, sick ones do not know what they are doing. A sick one who keeps varying does not know what he is talking about or doing. If science were right and correct, everyone would be right and correct. Then, why so much science? For nothing. Science that started in nothing and ends in nothing is worth nothing. Science of apparent welfare, science of apparent everything, and science of fantasies and appearances are not true. That is why everyone is betrayed, deceived and deceiving, due to being sick, being varying, and for being like that the thought does not stop. Who varies is well. No, who varies is a sick one. Then, everyone is sick. Matter is bad and who is bad, live badly, is sick. And so is everyone. You all came from a disease. Which disease? The material disease, the disease of matter. It suffices being matter to not be good, to be bad, to be a sick one with appearance of good and do that. Everyone lives of appearances, appearing what they are not due to being diseased. It suffices for earth to be an animal place, producing creatures of all manners, for being considered sick. What produces creatures is not good, it is rotten, and what is rotten is bad, it is diseased. Earth is a conjunct of creatures, producing creatures of all kinds, and what produces creatures is not good, it is bad, it is diseased, and for that, everyone is sick due to being a product of this conjunct of creatures. Apparently you seem to be good. Thus, you go on living of appearances, with this apparent everything, with this life of appearances, until you cannot bear it any more and give up. Then, what is this science of sick ones worth, which never ended this disease? It is worth nothing. You never knew where you came from or where you are going to. So, what is this science worth? Apparently it is worth everything and truly nothing. There they are, the failures, uncertainties, and disappointments. Who made your body? It was the microbe. Who made the microbe? The fluids. Who made the fluid? It was the heat. Who made the heat? It was the sun. Who made the sun? It were the lost virtues from the bodies before to these ones, which gathered, and from there a light was formed, like one thing that transforms into another, and with time, heating up, from there, the sun arose. And where were those bodies from? From rational plane. And where is this plane? Much above the astral superior. And why did those beings leave from there? Existing in that plane, which is much larger than this world, a part which was not yet ready to enter in progress, and some beings, due to the free will they had and have until today, entered into that part and started to progress on their own. They were warned. They did not pay the necessary attention to those warnings because they thought they were doing very well. They never knew the evil and they kept progressing. Then, that plane, due to not yet being ready to enter in progress, started to detach from the other, which is up there, and kept descending. They thought they were doing very well and losing the virtues, those were gathering into a light focus, and with time, came the extinction of those bodies because they kept degenerating and deforming each time more. From that plane, with the heat of the light focus increasing, started to come out a resin. With the heat, it started to clump up and roast. After roasted, it became ashes, and the bodies that extinguished on this resin originated the feminine sex, and those who extinguished on the plane originated the masculine sex. Then, there it is, how man and woman were made, the females and the males. The heat of the light focus increasing each time more, and that plane started to soften. From soft it became gummy, and with time it turned into a liquid, which gave origin to water. That water penetrated into the ashes of the resin, rotting it, coming from there, the formation of the microbes of all kinds, to the formation of all beings, which you called earth, being earth a conjunct of creatures, producing creatures of all manners, of all categories, being born at that time, all creatures of the ground. The continuation of this knowledge is found in this volume, Universe and Disenchantment, which is the knowledge of where we came from, how we came, where we are going to, and how we are going. Once a person being immunized, the immunization catches the fluid that gave origin to this body and takes it to rational plane, your place of origin. Primary course. Then, we have the primary course, which is the enchantment that is below the sun, the secondary course, above the sun, and the superior course, which is next to rational superior. The primary course is this life of mysteries, of the enigmas, and experiences, to end everything in nothing, because what comes from nothing ends in nothing. Then, enchantment, mysteries without solution. Now, disenchantment, all solutions of all formation of this world and its creation. Primary course because you are imprisoned to matter and without solution to this enigma. You knew you were like this, but did not know why you became like this, ignoring your being and all else, making a mystery of everything, due to not knowing anything right, talking like parrots, unconsciously, for being enchanted like any animal that in order to know it is necessary to learn everything. If you do not learn it, you will not know it. Then, this is the primary course, the course of the enchantment, of the parrots. This is the astral inferior, due to it belonging to the matter, to the inferior world, to the world of enchantment, of mysteries, of enigmas, of endless experiences, of adventures, always adventuring to see if it works or not. The world of disequilibrium, the world of animals. Then, it is about two enchanted worlds, of the inhabitants of earth and of the inhabitants of the space there, between the sun and earth. The visible world is that of matter and the invisible world is of the inhabitants of the space. That is the primary course, where everyone is born without knowing, to learn everything and stays the same for being enchanted ones. Then, we have above the sun the secondary course, where other invisible beings inhabit, which are the planets. Above the secondary course, secondary because it is below rational plane, it is the superior course, which is next to rational superior, on rational plane. Then, for you to become immunized in the fluidic body to return to its place of origin, for you not to be born there again, care to know what rational immunization is, for you to be truly certain about your being and of all beings, for you to know why you lived and lived there in that life of unsatisfied ones. No one is ever satisfied, it does no matter how well he is, because matter is from evil origin and what is evil is always suffering, it is never satisfied, because he does not know the goodness. He never saw goodness, he is always seeking it, as is everyone in the world, and where are you going to find it? Only in rational immunization. The matter is from evil origin, it is pure evil, and for being evil, it destroys itself, it ends, dies. Then you would stay there, your entire life seeking goodness without finding it because it does not exist in the life of matter. If everything is matter, if everything is from evil origin, where are you going to find goodness? Well, there is the word goodness, but it is only a word, which is to deceive, to tame, to attract, to catechize, to live in illusion, without hope. Wait that goodness still will come some day. And the human being stays in that hope to be well one day, in that illusion, due to not knowing the origin of his being, of the being of matter, which is from evil origin, and because good does not exist, no one sees anyone satisfied, everyone in the world is always unsatisfied because no one is well, you are from evil origin, you are bad, life is evil for being material. Where is the good? Where are you going to find the good there? Everyone unquiet, everyone worried, everyone full of problems. The unquietness is big, universally. The word goodness was an invented word, created by men as all the words, to understand one another. Then, you invented this word goodness to tame and catechize the savages, to tame the beasts, do this and you will get very well. Then, if the beasts were angry, they became appeased, they became tamed, waiting to that goodness. While they were waiting, in that hope, there was time to tame, to appease. They stay in that hope that they would be very good. Then, with that interest of being good, they became obedient, humble, to get the good they would receive, and that good always staying in hope, which is the last one to die. Have you ever seen matter be good? Have you ever seen goodness in matter? Only those who are in illusion with things, and one in illusion does not know what he says. One in illusion is an unconscious one. In illusion with the fantasies, in illusion with the appearances, in illusion with the arts, in illusion with this circus which is the world of enchantment. An unconscious one who does not know why he was born there, does not know why he lives there, does not know where he came from, does not know where he is going to, and keeps admitting all of this and talking like a parrot, unconsciously, because of reality he does not know anything, he is not aware about anything, but now, that you are knowing, seeing, and feeling the drama of the enchantment, the battles of the unconscious ones. And today, getting to know the truth as it is, of the enchantment and of the disenchantment. You fight a little to free yourselves of the life of the unconscious ones, which is the life of enchantment. Then, primary course, secondary course, and superior course. Summary of the formation of Earth. Some who left rational plane and entered in the part not ready to enter in progress, for not being ready, it started to detach from the plane and came descending, and in that descending everything started to deform. they, losing the virtues, these accumulating, with time warming each time more, until it transformed into fire, and according they came progressing, this plane losing virtues, like a thing that transforms into another, and these virtues gathering and forming infinity of bodies, visible and invisible ones. The visible ones are the planets. Due to being deformed it is that they are different from one another, and according they came progressing they distanced themselves more and more from the light. The invisible ones are those who inhabit the space therein which came deforming. That light was warming that plane, and with time, due to the heat, a resin started to come out. With time, the extinction of those bodies came about. Those that extinguished on the gum, which got soft and gummy with the heat, generated the masculine sex and all male beings, and those who extinguished on the resin of the plane, generated the feminine sex. And so, all beings of the feminine sex are originated from the resin, which clumped up with the heat, roasted, turned into coal and later ashes, to what was given the name of earth, and the plane was softening, melting, turned into a gum, and from this gum a thick liquid, and with time a thinner liquid, and then it turned into water. The invisible beings deformed themselves into the virtues that the plane kept losing. They did not deform themselves completely. That is the reason why there are visible beings, which are the planets, and the invisible beings. All of this while they kept losing their virtues, the virtues forming other beings, like the moon, the stars, and other beings. After you deformed yourselves into rational animals, you went through those 21 eternities, all of those already clarified in the universe in disenchantment. For you to know all of this, read the book about the formation of where you came from, how you came, where you are going to, and how you are going. The book about the origin of the beings, their formation and creation, the true genesis. And now, everyone with possession of rational immunization, for you to return, once immunized, to your place of origin, which is rational plane. That is why you were called rational animals, due to the origin being rational, but until now, you did not know the origin. You knew you were rational animals, but you did not know why. And today you know your base of origin and know how to return to your true place through rational immunization. You were pure, clean, and perfect rationals on rational plane. Due to free will you deformed yourselves, you turned into beasts, and thus you call yourselves rational animals, due to the origin being rational. You were enchanted due to not knowing how to provide a solution to your being. You did not know why you were like that, much less why the world is like that. And today, disenchanted, you know the entire transcription about the origin of everything and everyone, the reason of the world and of everyone to be like that. Today all enigmas unveiled, all mysteries, and you are connoisseur of the true right path of everyone, which is rational immunization. It is necessary to immunize to return to the place of origin, to not be born any more there in that enchantment, wasting time with that life of suffering. Then, who made yourselves like that? It was the same ones who are there. Who created the world like that? It was the same ones who are there. Who is to blame for all that suffering? It is the same ones who are there. Who is to blame for you be living in illusion, in fantasy, suffering, seeing death all the time, due to not having any warranty, living unbalanced, annoyed with life? It is the same ones who are there. You are the causers of all that, of that rough deceit, where everything is apparently worthy, but in truth it is worth nothing, because appearances are not truths. You came from nothing, you formed yourselves into an apparent everything, and boiled down again into nothing. Who is to blame for all of that? It is the same ones who are there. And for that, the world lives on account of its own inhabitants, without knowing what to do to straighten it out. You never could, because you are not from there. If you were from that world, you would be eternals, because you are not from there, you disappear without expecting. Who is to blame for all of that? It is the same ones who are there. Who is to blame for those disappointments, those illusions, for that entire deceiving prelude? It is all who are there. Therefore, do not waste more time, read to become immunized and to return to your place of origin, through rational immunization. No one is happy with this world, no one is happy with life, because no one is happy with suffering, no one is happy with death. Who is to blame? It is all who are there. And so, at last, it arrived the day for everyone to know where you came from, how you came, why you came, where you are going to, how you are going, through rational immunization.